Have you ever been playing Left 4 Dead and come across something you just can't explain? Are there any experiences you've had that you just don't understand? Well, in the spirit of Halloween, I've collected a couple of disturbing stories that'll keep you up at night. I did not write these, so credit to all the authors, and there will be links to these stories down in the description. If you enjoy what I do here and want to support the channel, please subscribe. It's free and it really helps me out. Lastly, and as always, if we hit 1,000 likes, I'll be posting some scary bunny pics on my community tab. So go ahead and like the video.
Subscribe to Creepypastas right now, or I'm gonna get you.
But without further ado, let's jump into some creepy Left 4 Dead stories. I hope you'll forgive the sudden appearance of this story. Seeing some of the tales featured on your YouTube channel, I figured you might appreciate these events. They all came about while playing Left 4 Dead 2 on the 360. Now, I've been a gamer for quite a few decades and have played a large number of games. Of course, with all my experiences, I've seen plenty of things, many of which others refuse to believe unless they were there when it happened. With this game, weird and unexplained occurrences were the norm. After all, I played it online most of the time. Stuff like that was bound to happen. Now, it wasn't so much weird in the creepy way, but more in the man, I wish I was recording this kind of way. Of course, most of that stuff happened before I replaced my copy of the game, because at one point it finally crossed the line. Before, whenever I'd play the game, I would always have a problem at the plantation where you had to climb a ladder in order to get into the house. My problem? There was no ladder. Whenever I reached that point, there would be nothing I could do. To rub salt in the wound, sometimes there would be an ammo pile there. Given how I really don't like giving up and letting the zombies kill off the character, it would turn into my last stand. However, it was more like slow death given the survivors would die off one by one. But that wasn't the incident that pushed things over the edge. You see, once I was playing versus online with some of the guys, and things were rather even. There was even a moment where I charged one of the guys out of a window in dead center, yelling "Bonsai" in an almost trolling manner. Of course, they got even when later they dangled me from a balcony with a smoker, just out of reach and out of view of the bots. The game was running smoothly until the connection to the server dropped. It tried to reconnect automatically, but to no success. The game should have kicked me out to the game/lobby configuration, but instead it went all the way back to the title screen. Now, normally the title screen is full of zombies just standing around in the open, but this time it was different. It was inside an empty safe room, doors shut and barred. After a few moments, "Pull trigger" appeared on the screen. Didn't really pay it any mind. I mean, normally you could get away with pressing any button. When I pressed the button, the screen flashed red and was followed by a yell, as if I had just gotten hit. I pressed more buttons and the red flash appeared more and more from the direction of the corresponding button. The Y button made the top of the screen flash, the A button made the bottom flash, so on and so on. On top of that, the yelling was soon followed by sounds of whimpering and heavy breathing. After a while of pressing buttons, the words faded and were replaced with "quit it" or "stop" before turning back to "pull trigger." By this time, however, I was in goof off mode and could care less. I mean, it was just a video game, right? I button mashed the controller, causing a red frame to light up the screen, along with sounds of screaming. It was as if the cameraman was being torn into pieces by an invisible horde of zombies. I muted the volume given how the sound effects were going a little overkill, but the words began to change more and more as I continued. "Don't do that. Stop it. No, please." It was as if the game was begging me to end my rapid button presses, as if I was doing something wrong. When I finally let up, the words on my screen simply vanished along with the Left 4 Dead 2 logo, leaving only an image of the empty safe room. I unmuted the volume and the sound of sobbing began to play through the speakers. Uncontrollable, pain-ridden sobbing. I turned off the volume again because it was starting to make me feel like I was some sort of monster, like I had just beaten some faceless person to the edge of death. Granted, I'll be the first one to send people flying like ragdolls in Saints Row, or throwing bombs at chickens in Zelda games, but this, it was just so gut-wrenching that I couldn't stand to hear it anymore. All this from a game that's nothing but killing tons and tons of zombies. Way to go, jackass, you're such a swell guy beating up a mystery person into a bloody pulp. After a moment, the words began to appear on the screen again. "Pull trigger." I began to wonder, why does it want me to pull the trigger? A few moments passed and it read, "Please, pull trigger." my mind speculating on what would take place if I followed the words on screen. Even though it was just a video game that wasn't even functioning normally at that, I couldn't bring myself to find out what would happen. So I chose not to pull the trigger. Instead of exiting the game, I just turned the whole thing off. I took out the batteries from the controller, I unplugged everything, I didn't even bother to take the disc out. I wanted the whole thing to end that bad. I was tempted to power it back on just to get the disc out, but I didn't want to touch it, let alone think about it. Not now anyway. At least not after what took place. The whole experience when I processed everything just left me feeling sad and depressed, like I was on a new low, and the gravity of the situation was crushing me into the ground. I hated it, I despised it, I loathed it. And just as I was depressed, I soon became overwhelmed with anger. How could I have done such a thing? Have these games desensitized me so much that the suffering of another person is worthless? Of all people, of all things, for someone who enjoys helping others, I've picked one hell of a way to turn myself into. I was beating myself down, beating myself up, tearing myself to pieces, and getting worked up over the guilt of inflicting who knows how much pain onto a nameless, faceless someone. The rational side of me yelling, "It's only a game," while every other aspect screamed, "You monster." Finally, in a fit of rage, I picked up the controller, reached back with the torture device in hand, and I couldn't. As much as I wanted to, I couldn't pull myself to throw the controller. Looking at it, I began to feel stupid over what I had felt. The rational side was right. It was just a game. The sound effects were just that, and the graphics were just computer generated. There wasn't even a person on the screen. I shook my head, somewhat in shame for letting myself get so worked up, and sat the controller back down on the table. I grabbed the TV remote to watch, well, anything to take my mind off of it. So I turned to the Food Network and propped my feet up on the table. After a moment, I got hungry, so I decided to get something to eat. As I was getting up, I ended up knocking the controller off the table where it landed with the sound of a gunshot. It was loud and close. Just as my feelings and emotions had changed, my thoughts returned full force. I felt cold chills, as if I was just drained of everything. I stared at the controller as it lay dead on the floor, face down and lifeless. Hesitantly, I kneeled down and reached for it. As the speculations ran through my head, as the fears rolled in, I tried to reason things out. The system's unplugged. It had no batteries. It wasn't even on. I didn't even touch it. It was all I could do in the attempt to calm myself down. Having lost my appetite, I sat the controller back on the table and went to bed, all the while trying to forget everything that took place. The next morning, I slowly awoke to the sound of the doorbell and rapid knocking. One of the neighbors was at the front door asking if I knew anything about what happened next door. Not knowing what was going on, I stepped outside in my pajamas to see police and paramedics next door. The garage door was open with crime scene tape crossing. The coroner already had the body bagged and was loading whoever was in it for transport. Inside the garage, there was a chair on its side, some rope, and a large pool of blood. I wanted to forget. I needed to forget. I tried to keep myself as composed as I could, as I told the neighbor who was with me that I couldn't stand gawking at the scene. They understood. Yeah, right. And I went back inside my place. As I laid in bed, I couldn't stop but think about the night before. I needed answers, but wasn't sure what to do. After a few hours, I plugged the system back in, installed the batteries, and, after turning the volume off, turned the game back on. When I reached the title screen, it was dark. Very dark. It wasn't an open area, or the safe room, or anything for that matter. There wasn't any text on screen, nor was the logo around. It was a black textured screen with a very, very faint line down the middle. After a few moments, the line began to move, then split apart to reveal a blinding light. I didn't see much else because I quickly hit eject, grabbing the game disc, broke it in half, and fed it down the garbage disposal. I turned off the system and turned to the news. As if it was clockwork, they began reporting on the murder next door. Authorities believe blank was bound, then brutally beaten before they were shot and left for dead. The investigation had been suspended due to no credible leads. Though inconsistent with their findings, some believe it was an assisted suicide. I've always loved video games, but living in Egypt makes that hobby difficult. Technology here is expensive, our currency is weak, and my family really isn't well off. My dad works as the head of a sector in a real estate company, and my mom is a housewife. They both think gaming is a useless waste of time and money. Because of that, I usually pirate most of my games. The one exception was Gary's Mod. It was the only legitimate game in my Steam library, a gift from a generous friend. One day, around 5 p.m., I was playing it as usual until I got bored and closed the game. Just as I was about to close Steam, I noticed something that caught my attention. Left 4 Dead 2 was free for a limited time. At the time, I assumed it was one of those temporary games Steam gives you for a weekend that disappears from your library afterward. I never download those. My internet is painfully slow and we have a limited bandwidth, so I only ever download games that are worth keeping. I shrugged it off and opened Chrome. After browsing for a bit, I logged onto Facebook. A friend of mine, also a gamer, messaged me almost immediately. He told me Left 4 Dead 2 was free on Steam. I told him not to bother, that it was just another temporary game that would vanish, but he insisted that this one would stay in my library permanently. I froze, staring at the message. If he was telling the truth, this was big. A fully paid game for free, permanently? I told him I'd download it right away, and he said he was heading to bed. I didn't waste a second. I opened up Steam, found the game, and hit download. It took 9 hours to finish, but it was worth it. It was a legitimate copy. Multiplayer worked, no errors, no virus, and best of all, it was legal. Once it was finally installed, I launched it and started playing. Hours passed. Before I knew it, it was midnight, and I kept going until 6 a.m. 6 hours straight of killing zombies. I completed the campaigns, earned most of the achievements, and downloaded a few add-ons. Eventually, I decided to try online play. I joined a game, chose Nick, and waited for the match to start. But the moment it loaded, the game crashed. I tried to reopen it, but Steam said it was still running. I checked the task manager. Nothing. It annoyed me, but I decided to calm down and check the support page. I made a thread explaining the issue and waited for help. While waiting, I browsed other threads. Most people were complaining about all the new players who joined after the game went free. Some said the new players were clueless, others said they couldn't speak English or communicate at all. A few mentioned something stranger, creepy people joining lobbies, acting strangely, saying unnerving things in chat. I felt a bit offended since I was one of those free players, but I brushed it off. A little later I checked my thread again and someone replied with detailed steps on how to fix the problem. I followed them, thanking the person, and launched the game again. This time it worked. My first round went fine, nothing strange, but suddenly everyone disconnected, leaving me alone. I was playing as Ellis now, then someone joined. It was the same person who helped me earlier. I typed, "Hey, what a coincidence." There was no response. He kept playing for about 10 minutes, then his mic turned on. What came through wasn't a voice, it was a harsh static and white noise. It lasted for several seconds before a sound emerged, a high-pitched squeal. Not quite human. I typed, "What the hell?" He eventually turned his mic off. I get jump scared easily, so that really freaked me out. I muted my speakers, and 2 minutes later a message appeared. "Turn on your speaker." My heart skipped a beat. How did he know I muted it? I convinced myself it was just a coincidence and unmuted. He turned his microphone back on. This time, I heard a TV playing a movie in the background. I typed, "Hi." He responded with a deep voice, sounding like a young man. "Greetings." I asked where he was from. He said he lived in England, and his accent sounded real. I jokingly asked if he was drinking tea. He replied, "Are you mocking me?" I panicked and told him I was only joking and respected English people. Static filled the mic again. I tensed up, bracing myself for that awful squeal. I reached towards the mute button, and then it came. Louder, deeper, like a distorted cry for help. His mic returned to normal. "Sorry for that," he said. My fear turned to anger. "What the hell was that?" I asked. "Nothing, it won't happen again," he said. I demanded to know what was going on, but he suddenly left the game. Shaken, I exited Left 4 Dead completely and went to bed. Sleep didn't come easy that night. When I finally did sleep, I had a nightmare. Everything in it was pitch black, except for a distant sound echoing in the darkness. The same scream I'd heard through the microphone. It jolted me awake. My father later told me that my computer had repeatedly been making a call ringtone during the night, loud enough to wake him. After he left for work, I turned on my computer, confused and uneasy. The first thing I saw stunned me. The same guy had added me as a friend. I didn't remember accepting his request or even receiving it, yet there it was. I opened the chat and began typing. "What the hell do you want from me?" Before I could hit enter, he sent a message. "So you finally woke up." At first, I tried to calm myself. I assumed he saw the typing status, but how would he know that I had been asleep at all? I sent my message anyway. He replied almost instantly. "Don't you want to know what that sound was?" Before I could respond, he sent a link. I noticed the domain immediately, onion. I didn't fully understand what he meant at the time. I assumed it might be a screamer or a prank, so I made my browser window smaller just in case. I clicked the link. The page that loaded was filled with ads. I always use ad block, so it was strange. My ad block had been disabled. I re-enabled it and the ads vanished, leaving a black screen. I typed, "There's nothing here." He replied, "Look again." My stomach tightened. My heart started racing. I hesitated, but curiosity took over. I clicked the tab again. This time, something was there, a video. It showed a man sitting in a dim room with a television behind him. I could hear the same movie audio that had played over his microphone before. There were no controls, no play, no pause, meaning it wasn't a video at all. It was a live stream. The man stared at the camera for a few seconds before speaking. "Hi." I froze. I couldn't move. Then he said, "Leave now and it will be the end for you." I didn't take that threat seriously. I heard plenty of empty warnings online. I moved my mouse to close the tab, but nothing happened. The browser wouldn't close. A message popped up. Chrome is not responding. Even though it wasn't responding, the stream kept going. The man leaned closer. "So you want to know what you heard? I really wanted to show you my work of art." A slow, unsettling grin spread across his face. He reached down as if picking something up. My body tensed. He lifted it towards the camera. Panic surged through me. I forced my computer to shut down, but not before I saw it. It was the body of a girl, maybe 15 years old, but where her head should have been, there was a sewn-on head of a pig. Just before the screen went black, I heard something faint but unmistakable, a child screaming, and a voice whispering, "Scream, little pig, you're next." I didn't touch my computers for an hour after that. I felt sick. The image of that girl kept flashing in my head. Eventually, I turned on my brother's laptop instead. I opened Steam and checked my chat history. The conversation was gone. The link was gone. No trace of him at all. I searched for his Steam ID, but it was as if his account never existed. That's when I realized something far worse. This wasn't some troll trying to scare me. This person was careful. That's when I realized something far worse. This wasn't just some troll trying to scare me. This person was careful, like he'd done this before, and knew how to disappear. For days, I couldn't sleep properly. When I did, my dreams were filled with squeals and static. I lost my appetite, I dropped weight, I felt drained, paranoid, constantly looking behind me. I kept thinking about him. Did he really think he could break me? That would scare me into silence? At first, he did. I was terrified. But fear changes with time. That lunatic thought he could break me, that he'd scar me forever. But he was wrong. This isn't the end for me. It's only the beginning. So what did you guys think of these stories? Do you have any of your own? Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said earlier, you can find all the links to the stories in this video down in the description. Thank you all so much and have a nice rest of your spooky day. Peace out.
Subscribe to Cookie Bits right now, or I'm gonna get you.